Hello. Hey, TC. Hey, Freestyle Fitness. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining my scope today. OTC, you give such awesome information. This is like my second week on Periscope, but I'm telling you, I'm really learning a lot from you, and I hope to just grow up and just be something like you. And when I'm great, just know that you contributed a lot to that, okay? I want to give people their flowers while I can. Oh, you're welcome. Social Architect, thank you for coming today. I want to give everybody a chance to get in the room, and we're going to talk today about applying for your 501c3 with the IRS. And I want you to know that like 70,000 people, hey Dre, thanks for coming. I want you to know that like 70,000 people apply for 501c3 status every year, and like 45% of them are approved. So this is very important training, information that you really need to know if you're going to be successful at having a nonprofit. So I'm glad everybody has come today. Now I'm not going to, oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so just some housekeeping things. If you are on, well, the music is for enhancement. I'm not ready to quite get started yet. I'm just warming it up while a few people come into the room. Who had a heart attack? Oh, heart attack. Oh, yes. I love having, that's great. Okay, yes. Let me flip the camera around. Hello, everybody. It's DeWanda. And just some housekeeping things. So the way that I know that the information that I'm giving you today is helpful is because I'm going to see those Skittles on the screen like it's happening right now. And I really appreciate that. And if you are on a iPhone or if you're on an iPhone, swipe to the side and share this so that other people can join us. And if you are on a Android, then I want you to swipe up or down and share this to other people so that they come into the room. And so the topic today is a little bit heavy, but I don't want you to take notes. If you want to take notes, I'm going to ask you to watch the replay. And if you're watching the replay, I really appreciate you coming and watching the replay. And you too can tap your screen and leave hearts, and I'll know that they were left there when I come back and look at the people who have come to watch this scope. So today's topic is to help you fill out the paperwork for the IRS so that you can have your 501c3 certified. Now, I told you last week that if you stuck with me this week, I was going to have you in business, up and running. Hello, Virginia. I was going to have you up and running by the end of this week so that next week you'll be ready to come along with us while hey, Jason, didn't I promise them last week, Jason, I was going to have them up and running and totally legalized this week so that they could start fundraising next week, writing grants, getting money. That's what I promised I would do, and that's what we're going to do. And today is the last step in that. And so what I want to do is to ask you to not take notes, but instead to just listen intently and tap the screen so that I can be mindful of what I am saying to you is resonating with you. Now, if you have questions, I'm going to ask you to hold those till the end. So do get a pen and paper and write those down so that when I'm finished with this talk, and I don't want to talk more than 10 minutes, that you can then ask your questions, have them answered, and we can move on from there. Okay? So is the sound okay? Is everything, going as it should be? Can everybody see me okay? All right, great. So, there is some changes that had happened. The IRS last June put out a 1023 Easy application. Hey, Leslie, thank you for joining. We're going to talk about applying for a 501c3 status with the IRS. And this is a critical move in having your nonprofit certified and ready to go. Hey, Talisha, thanks for coming. I really enjoyed your scope. You are really keeping me up on what's happening in the technology world. So I didn't even know I was getting an Android update until I watched your scope. So thank you so much. You're doing a great job. Okay, so there is a 1023 EZ application that the IRS put out on last June. However, there are most organizations are still going to need to fill out the complete form. And the form that you need to fill out can be found at irs.gov. That's irs.gov, as in Internal Revenue Service, because they are the entity that certifies nonprofits as charitable organizations. Thank you so much, Scope Scribe. You're so excellent. I love that you do that everywhere I go. I look for you in people's scope just for that reason. You're awesome. So there are some very key reasons or instances in which an organization can use this easy form. And the form is really easy. I mean, it's like 3 pages, and all you have to do is check boxes. You don't have to really write anything or anything. It's just so easy. However, the only organizations as of today that are eligible to use that easy form are churches, affiliate organizations of churches, and nonprofits that are going to collect less than $5,000 in revenue a year. So hopefully that's not any of us, because we really want to have you up and running substantial amounts of money into your nonprofit. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. So there's probably new people here. I see new people coming in that have not been here before. I just said faith-based organizations that are not churches. You will, if you're going to, church affiliates is an affiliate. So that's you might want to send me an email or talk to me offline, or just hold those questions till the end. So let me just start, since new people are coming in. I'm asking people to listen intently, tap the screen so that I know if what I'm saying to you is resonating, if it's the right information that you want to hear. And then hold your questions until the end when I have Q&A, and I'm going to answer everyone's questions. Okay? All right, so I didn't introduce myself, so let me just do that very quickly right now. My name's Dr. DeWanda Farmer, and I am the CED doctor. I'm a community economic development expert, a nonprofit consultant and coach, and I'm the grant writer extraordinaire who's won over $50 million in grants for various nonprofit organizations that I've worked with over the last 15 years. Okay, so most of you are going to need to fill out the complete 1023 form, and that is the form that you're going to look for at irs.gov. It's the 1023 form if you are looking for a 501c3 status. Now, there are other nonprofit statuses that are designated by the IRS, some of which require you to fill out the 1024 form, but that is not the topic that we're going to focus on today. So today we're going to focus strictly on the 501c3 certification or designation, and we are going to be going very quickly through the elements of the 1023 form. Okay. I also would like to advise you to pull the publication 557, which details all of the rules and regulations that will cause you to comply with your 501c3 designation. Okay. And I see people are still coming into the room. If you're watching the replay, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking your time. And I hope that the knowledge that I'm pouring out today is useful to you, and that you are actually going to set up a nonprofit organization, because the only reason that I am here delivering this content is because I am focused intently on helping you help other people. Okay, so the 1023 application, you are asking for a 501c3 designation, and you are certifying with the IRS that you are operating for charitable purposes. Okay, so you need to be duly organized to do so. So if you've been here all week, we did that on Monday, and we incorporated your nonprofit so that it is appropriately organized to fit the criteria of the IRS code for 501c3 organizations. Okay, you cannot be an action organization, meaning you cannot attempt to influence legislation or lobby for or against any particular political candidates. Okay, that is critical to you maintaining compliance with your certification. Thank you so much for sharing with your followers. I appreciate you inviting others to come. Okay, so first things first. Excuse me. Oh, thank you. Tag Tribes is coming to the scene. Thank you. I'm a tag triber. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is make sure that the organization has an appropriate legal form. And so we did that on Monday when we went over the articles of incorporation and the things that you needed. And so you need to be organized as a trust, as a corporation, or as an association. Those are the only three types of entities that the IRS will consider for a 501c3 designation, okay? So if you're designated as an LLC or an LLP, you're not going to be able to pass the muster of the requirements for 501c3 designation. Then the IRS wants to determine if you are organized for a charitable purpose. Charitable purpose being religion, education, a literary cause, possibly healthcare or education. And so those are the appropriate designations. Now, if you want to look at other types of 501c designations, I advise you to get publication 557 because that's where you're going to find out that information, okay? And so in order to be recognized as an exempt organization, you will need to pay the appropriate user fee and fill out the 1023 application parts 1 through parts 11. If you do the 1024, you're going to need to do parts 1 through parts 4, and then there is the narrative. And so the narrative activities is where you're going to describe very completely and in details the present and the past, the present, and the planned activities of your organization. And so you should describe the actual planned activities rather than your pie-in-the-sky dreams of what you might want to do in the future, okay? So for example, if you are doing a youth program and at some point in the future you hope to offer scholarships, if you're not able to offer scholarships now, that is not information you want to provide to the Internal Revenue Service. You just want to focus on the youth programming that you know that you're going to be able to deliver, okay? And so in this narrative, you're going to tell the IRS exactly what activities you're going to do, who is going to conduct those activities, when the activity will be conducted, where that activity will be conducted, and how does that activity further the organization's charitable purposes. And then you also want to specify what percent of the organization's time is going to be allocated to that activity and how that activity is going to be funded. The next thing the IRS is going to focus on is the compensation and other financial arrangements that you have with officers, directors, trustees, employees receiving compensation, and independent contractors. And anyone that is getting compensation in excess of $50,000 will have to be explicitly named on your 1023 application, okay? So the other information that they're going to ask you is about members. So if you have a membership organization, then part 6 of the application is going to ask you who are those members, how membership happens, what kind of process, members have to go through in order to join. And you'll also have to tell them if those members are going to receive some kind of benefit and ensure that that same benefit that is afforded to those members are also made available to the entire general public. Because if you have benefits that are just for your members, you may fall into some sketchy areas. And so you might want to talk to an attorney before you file these papers. And I am not giving you legal advice. I do not work for the Internal Revenue Service. I am a nonprofit business consultant and coach, and I am giving you information that I have gained from almost 2 decades of experience working with a variety of nonprofits, okay? And so there's also a 27-month rule, which means from the date that you filed your articles of incorporation, you have 27 months to complete the 1023 form and to ask the IRS for a charitable designation. If you wait beyond the 27 months, It does not mean that you're not going to be provided a 501c3 designation. But what it does mean is that you will only be designated a 501c3 as of the date that you filed the 1023 request with the Internal Revenue Service. If you file this paperwork within 27 months of starting your organization, the IRS will afford you your designation from your date of incorporation. Okay, so that means you have 27 months, but I advise you to just get it done now because there's very few, if any, I can't name one, funders out there who will give you a grant without seeing your letter designating you as a 501c3 organization from the IRS. And the reason is because they want to ensure that they are going to be able to take a tax benefit for having given you their money. Okay, so you must provide very specific details about the activities that you're going to take on, and then you'll be required to create financial data. Now, if you're a new organization, you're going to be projecting forward 3 years. If you're an existing organization that has been operating, then you're going to be putting information for the previous 2 years of operation and then your next year's budget for what you expect is going to happen. Okay, so the IRS used to give what we call an advanced ruling of public charity status, which says what you've told us appears that you're a public charity, and we're going to designate you as such, and we'll reevaluate that based on the tax returns that you file over the next 2 or 3 years. However, they have made changes, and as of last year, as of 2008, they have eliminated this process. And so what happens now is they're going to automatically treat you as a public charity for the first 5 years. And then you must establish by fact that you actually meet the test of public charity beginning in your 6th taxable year. Okay. And so there's also what we call an expedited process, because sometimes it might take the IRS months, several months, to give you an official ruling on your IRS designation. So there's a way to expedite that, okay? It's not very complicated, but it's not often granted. You have to be very explicit about why you need your application expedited, and you have to provide them with the specifics. So let's say that you are a nonprofit and you provide services for people with HIV/AIDS, and you're eligible to get $100,000 from the Ryan White Foundation, and you don't have your designation, and they're not going to give you the money until they see the letter. So then you need to send a letter to the IRS requesting that your application be expedited. You have to tell them that it's the Ryan White Foundation, Jennifer Pugh, who is the contact person, the address and the phone number, and that you are up for a $100,000 award. That is likely to get the IRS to expedite your ruling and for you to have your designation much sooner than the average process. Now, if you're running the same program and someone's going to give you $500, then you send that same letter. The IRS is not likely to approve you for an expedited process because it's not a significant amount of money, and nor will it really go that far in furthering your mission. So that's the example that I wanted to share. And then finally, in the beginning, I told you that along with your 1023 application or 1024 application, you will be required to pay a user fee directly to the IRS. If you do not pay the user fee, the IRS will not even turn one page on your application to consider it for review. So if you are an organization and you are going to take in less than $10,000 over the next 2 years, then you can actually file and pay a $400 user fee. However, if you're going to collect more than $10,000, then you may as well go right ahead and pay the $850 fee right up front. So if you do these things, you can send your application to the IRS, become certified, and start being in the business of helping people live their dreams, fulfill their goals, and meet unmet needs in your community. And so I'm ready to take your questions. If you thought this information was useful, I see one color on the screen. I don't know if other people found this information useful. So if you found this information useful, just let me know. And also, I'm ready to take your questions. So if you have questions about filing the 1023 application, you may type them in the box and ask them now. I'm frozen. Okay. Go in and come back out and see what happens. Oh, great, Dr. Renee. Thank you for coming, Dr. Renee. We were just talking about how to get through the application process to get your 501c3 certification with the IRS. And waiting to see if people have questions. Thank you, Jason. Do you have questions, Jason? Thank you, Dr. Renee. If you're watching the replay, we really appreciate you coming today. What if an organization started the process and stopped a few years ago? Well, Addison, I probably can take the information that you have from before, retool it, and help you to complete an application today that would keep you, get you up and running. Now, if you've been continuing to do activities, that's excellent. If you've not been continuing to do activities, then that's something else we probably need to talk about, how we can get you back into the business of serving your mission and helping people in your community. Any more questions? I'm ready today. I'm all fired up. This is my topic. Mark Williams, thank you for joining us. Faith-based, but not a church. Can we do the easy form? March the hurt within. March the hurt within. No. You either have to be a church. It's very specific. And let me just tell you exactly. It is churches, including synagogues, temples, and mosques, and integrated auxiliaries of churches and conventions or associations of churches, or any organization whose gross receipts in each taxable year are not normally $5,000 or more. So if you do not fit that criteria, then you absolutely, Mark, must fill out the long form, the 1023 application. Anybody else have a question? I know, Mark, I wish that everybody could fill out the 1023 form and we could just check those boxes, because there was no questions asked. It was just check boxes, 3 pages, sign it, write the check, and it was over. But you can see why they would do that for small fledgling new organizations that aren't really going to be doing things. But you have to also understand that those organizations are not likely to have very strong impacts, because it takes resources. And so I want you to continue to follow me, continue to join these scopes, because I'm going to help you to, Mark, if you'd like to contact me, it would be much easier if you sent an email to me at drfarmer@theceddoctor.com. drfarmer@theceddoctor.com. Excellent. And then I will definitely get back to you. No doubt about it. So is there anyone else here that has questions? Was this information good? Did it resonate with you? Do you think that you can fill out this paperwork all on your own, and that you can be up and running and fulfilling your mission and having strong impacts in your community? Give me a thumbs up if that's a yes. If you're still a little leery, if you need extra help, then thank you, Michelle, for joining. I appreciate Tag Tribe supporters following me. Thank you so much for coming. It's the CED, Community Economic Development, doctor.com. That would be correct, Mark. So instead of CEO, it's CED like David. Lane, thank you for joining. Okay, so we're about to wrap up unless there are no more questions. In the meantime, excellent. Thank you so much, Addison. I'm glad it was helping. Can you retrofit an established organization to ready them for larger funding opportunities? Is it already established as a nonprofit, Jason? Because there are ways to take an organization a previous organization and let it be succeeded by a new organization, and then we just have to be very careful about how the assets were distributed from the previous organization. But yes, that's something that can definitely be done. We just have to explain very cautiously and particularly to the IRS what we did and why. Well, not necessarily why, but what. Questions, anybody else? Going once. Questions going twice. Questions going 3 times. Thank you so much. Again, my name is DeWanda Farmer, and I am the CED doctor. Thank you, Addison. I've been at this a very long time. I am the CED doctor. I'm a community economic development expert, grant writer extraordinaire, nonprofit consultant, and coach, and I am here to help you help other people. Thank you so much for joining this today. You can reach my website at www.theceddoctor.com. And it's not the greatest website. We're going to be retooling that and rebranding it very soon. But I believe you will find a lot of content out there, helpful and useful information. If you'd like to like our Facebook page, you can find us on Facebook at The CED Doctor LLC. And thank you, Jason. That's correct. And if you're looking for me on Twitter, I am at Dwanda Farmer. That's DWANDAFARMER. Thank you so much, and I appreciate each and every one of you for joining this scope today.